Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market show. Hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How are you doing today?
Hey, good morning, Carlos. I'm doing great. How about yourself, bud?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Let's go right to the market post. I know we have some numbers coming out, Norm, that we might want to talk about today. See how that's going to affect things this morning.
Yeah, right at the bottom of the hour, we had a slew of data come out. So it was about 90 seconds ago. Hasn't really done much of anything to the market. We got jobless claims for last week. They came in at 1.3 million versus 1.25 expected, so just slightly worse. That is better than the previous week at 1.314. Continuing jobless claims for the week were at 17.338 million versus 17.6 expected, and the prior week was just over 18. So a little bit better on that front, and a pretty decent change week over week. Retail sales came in month over month for June higher than expected. Sales without cars came in better than expected at 6.7% increase versus 4.2. And then the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index came in at 24.1 versus 20. So a slew of data just came through, and the market is just kind of sitting still here. Spy's down just about 2/3%. Nothing too crazy. It's been kind of a smooth sit here. It's tried to bounce back a few times when it got down around 319. As far as economic data for the rest of the day, we've got home builders index and business inventories at 10 a.m. and then a couple of Fed speakers a little bit later in the day, midday. Technology it looks like, taking the biggest hit. Technology and retail. But all the sectors across the board are essentially in the red. So that's where we sit right now, bud.
All right, thank you for that. All right, guys, let's get to what we have this morning. We got a lot in the red today. Again, we had a lot in the green yesterday. Obviously, the market is down just a hair today, not by much. But you can see here a lot of stocks taking a bit of a hit here, some in double digits here. So we'll see what's going on with those. But for the most part, you got all the cruise lines, all the airlines, all the travel stuff that was up yesterday, now slightly down. But again, they had a big run yesterday. If you look at, I'll take a look at United, as this was the one I was watching. I just want to show you what this looks like on the daily here. This is a nice big run yesterday. So you did have some action here. Look at the daily. So you got a small pullback right now, which I'm assuming a lot of these stocks are going to look very similar. If you look at it yesterday on how it ran up, I mean, United was just great. And this is why I tend to like United over American Airlines. They tend to be a little bit more smoother on their price action. It was a little bit tough here in the morning, but once it settled in, look how nicely this thing traded. And look at this level right on here, guys. This level at 34.48, 34.48, 34.50. You know, that was a very tough, very close to the high of the high of the day. But again, tough area of resistance here. Finally did a beautiful breakout with some good volume. You could, if you're zoomed out, you could see this coming up and winding up, guys. But look how nice that volume breaks in, and it just takes off from there. So again, a beautiful trade on UAL. I did not play this, but hopefully you took advantage of this one. Let's take a look at some other players. MRA
That was our member trade of the day.
Yes,
was on that break yesterday. Yeah, it was a fantastic trade.
That's right, guys. If you're not following Norm and Mike on Twitter, make sure you do that. Norm is at NormBBT, I believe. And what is Mike's?
Mike B_BBT.
Yep. We'll have those for you next time. Tomorrow we'll put them up so you can follow these guys.
It's in the announcements.
Okay, excellent. So again, guys, definitely follow these guys so you can see the member trade of the days and other content that they're throwing out there in Twitter. mRNA was a big one yesterday. Huge drop here. I love this engulfing pattern here. And yes, I would include this pre-market action here because that's a big move. Nice engulfing pattern. This is a great reversal signal, guys. Very powerful. Take a look at class number 4. We talk about this quite a bit. Here's your entry. And if you missed that, you have some opportunities here for a possible 5-minute open range breakdown. But again, you have to be really quick because you didn't really get a nice pullback here. It does get a little choppy in here. Tries to recover, cannot get above the VWAP. We've seen this before. It cannot hold here, loses the VWAP, and then look at this beautiful drop, guys, to the low of the day and then some. So again, mRNA giving some back yesterday. after opening up pretty big today. We will definitely have this one on our list today. Very active, possible continuation on the daily once we get to it. We had play yesterday, and this was one of my favorites yesterday because I like the way the daily looked on this one. And we got a great question on Twitter in regards to, why do we like the daily so much? And I put a post up on this as well. You could clearly see here, guys, how great this support was. Beautiful support here around 11, 13 or so. Consolidation here happening, and this thing opens up and gaps up slightly above this consolidation. So to me, already on technicals, that looks great. Now you add in, some positive news on the overall market that could affect things opening up, like Dave & Buster's. Obviously, they need people to come into their space to get going, and you get just add a little fuel to it. And look how beautiful this thing popped up. If we go back over to our 5-minute, I forgot the member that had a beautiful trade on this one yesterday. Let's go over here, zoom in a little bit, show you guys what the trade was. Again, just a beautiful pop above the high of the pre-market here. Gives you a nice breakout and really never looks back until it gets towards 14. So again, a nice play there on play if you took advantage of that. Quickly through some of these. CCL was very choppy, guys. It was difficult to read the price action. It never really traded well into probably afternoon. So again, just not a lot going on there. Didn't like the way it was going. We already talked about United Airlines. This was good. BA, I didn't really look at the price action, but looking at it now, didn't look all that clean without looking, exactly how it went. So again, you did have an engulfing pattern here, not as big, not as great as we saw on mRNA, but a nice little drop here, able to take advantage of this drop. Neo, I didn't like the price action much. It was very choppy at the open. And JP Morgan was great, guys. Beautiful open range breakdown here. Opens up, beautiful selling pressure here, comes back down, beautiful pullback on the 5-minute open range breakdown. And this becomes a beautiful short here. That was my trade yesterday on JP Morgan. Then from there, it just got pretty choppy. It wasn't really good at all. So that was our main watch list yesterday. Let's take a look at what we have this morning. Let's start with what's up today. Let's go over to our screen here. All right, we have LGHL. This doesn't look all that great right now. Let's see. Let's get our daily out. All right, so here's our daily. Again, just starting to get going here. Is that correct? 19,000 float. We're not touching this one today, so let's move on from this one. That is scary stuff. I'm sure it's incorrect, guys, but that is still scary. I'm sure it's very
Hong Kong financial company. I wouldn't touch this thing, and it appears that is the correct float.
Seriously? That is insane.
Well, it's at least what FinViz also says, but sometimes with foreign companies, it's the data is a little funky. So I wouldn't touch that.
Yeah, I will not touch this, guys. Let's look at EBON here. So EBON, this one is also gapping up a bit, 20%. I don't like the pre-market action right now. It is a 75 million shares float, but it does look like a low float. This is not looking great.
This is a Chinese Bitcoin mining hardware producing company. So
did you hear that news on Twitter? Something about their Bitcoins.
I'm shocked. Twitter. Well, I guess Twitter is on our gappers here. I'm shocked they're only getting hit by 4.2% after that. That's problematic. But yes, I did hear that.
Yeah, and they got some volume here, guys. So we're just going to add Twitter on this since we're just talking about that. Let's throw it on there. We'll definitely have this one on our list today. 964,000, down 4.3, some negative news of some big Bitcoin stuff there. How about Dell last night, guys? Last night took off here. I got a text from Abio about this action happening right after the close. So again, some good news for them yesterday, Norm. What was that, earnings?
No, they're exploring the sale. They own 81%, I believe, of VMware, and they're looking to sell that.
Excellent. All right, I'll definitely like Dell today. Again, Dell doesn't move all that much. Doesn't move well for the most part. Today could be obviously different. They got some really good news. They got some really good volume coming in. You can tell the volume here on Dell is very light. Again, they're not heavily traded. A couple of days here coming out of 10 million shares. Looks like for the most part they're averaging about 3.2 million shares per day. So again, very light. But today could be the day where we get some action on it. So we'll definitely keep an eye on this one. We have AA on here. This looks like a foreign stock because of the way the daily looks, but I'm not sure. Pre-market right now looks horrible, so we're not even going to bother with this one. And let me expand a little more. When I mean horrible, I mean we're not getting no type of action. Yes, you have 128,000 shares traded. You're up 4.4, but just look at the way this thing is trading here. Again, there's nothing good about it. The daily is also very horrible, very choppy as well. Very light on the volume down here also. Let's head over to SPCE. This one has been, we had a couple of moves on this before. Had a beautiful breakout here out of 17, traded very well on this date. You have pockets of good trading on SPCE, and then in between you just have a bunch of really bad days. And not just the candlesticks, also in the intraday, you look at the price action, it's really horrible. Pre-market right now, not showing us anything great at all. I mean, we do have 140,000 shares traded. We are up 3%. If you want to consider somewhat a continuation play here, you kind of can. You got a pop here. You do have a drop, and it's coming back up here, hopefully trying to test some of these levels here. But I'm just not going to bet on this one today. I'm going to just keep it at a far distance. If you see something better building up here, we can look at it. But again, not looking all that great today. QGen here, QGEN right now. This is starting to get going. Up 2.3, 2.2 million shares traded. But again, this stock, we've seen this stock before. I have never traded. I think it's a foreign stock as well. It has to be foreign. Look at this daily. This just doesn't look all that good. So I'm going to skip on this one, guys. I'm not liking what I'm seeing here. And yes, this action looks like it's starting to get going. But the fact that you traded 2.2.
It's out of the Netherlands, man. It trades terribly.
Oh, yeah. And you can tell here, 2.2 million shares traded, and this is what you have. You know, that's not good at all. I'd rather have a stock that's trading 800,000 shares and has a better pre-market action. Let's move on down to what's gapping down, excuse me. It's a lot on here, so we'll start with the top 5 or so. We'll look at the cruise lines, we'll look at the airlines, and we'll look at any top players in here that we've been tracking throughout the last couple of weeks. INMB, this one was active yesterday, actually three days ago as well, gapped up huge and kind of giving some back here. Again, I don't like this price action. Once you get this gap up and you start slowly selling down, it's just not clean. I'm just going to avoid this one. So we'll skip on that one. JRJC, this was huge yesterday, guys. Let's take a look at the action. A lot of it all really happened in the pre-market, right? Pre-market took a really nice a pop here. It was a little bit ugly at first, got a little bit better once more volume started coming in. You can see here in the 5-minute. So you got several kind of runs here. I saw some pretty good trades people took in the pre-market. Again, guys, be very careful. Reading the pre-market action could be a lot difficult than actual live trading. At the open, nice drop here right away, a couple of halts, and then you can see how choppy this thing was. After something like this, you don't want to be testing this to try to go long again. This is very, very dangerous situation for JRJC. So I'm not looking to spend no time on it neither today, so we'll move on. Here is NEO right now. Great action right now, 7.8 million shares traded. These guys are down 9.6 normal. What's the latest on NEO?
NEO. Frankly, I looked at it earlier, but I haven't really. I'm not seeing anything too crazy. They had a bit of a down day yesterday. You know, they've had this explosive run on this EV mania, and now I think they're just pulling back a little bit into and then continuing from yesterday because it's slumped for a couple of days now overall.
Yeah. So
not seeing anything fresh. If somebody does, point it out, please.
Yeah, we got some good action on it pre-market right now with some really good volume. So we'll keep an eye on NEO today. Let's look at the cruise line since we have the first one up this morning. NCLH, again, great day yesterday, guys. Traded a lot clean. If you look at this one in CCL, this traded a lot cleaner right off the bat. I wish I had this one on watch. I made the decision to watch CCL instead. But man, this is clean, and I love this setup here. I'm assuming a little bit more so you can see it because it just shows who has control of the price action here. Buyers come in, push this up, sellers try to bring it back down, and buyers take over again. I do like that setup there, and then from there you can see how beautifully this thing hangs on to the moving averages and creating a beautiful uptrend here. Again, I was watching CCL, bad move there. NCLH definitely was the one to watch if you were looking into cruise lines. Almost even better than United because United had a little struggle at the beginning. They did get going here, but this one was definitely trading a lot nicer. Today we have 1.9 million shares traded. I love what I'm seeing here, guys. Also, right now we're struggling with this pre-market low. I'm going to mark it down 1677. Let's put that on there, but I think NCLH is definitely on our list this morning, so we'll add that one here. And then let's head down over to the other cruise lines and look at CCL. I don't see CCL on the list. It's not on here. It is probably flat. No, CCL should be on here.
CCL's on there.
Oh, here it is on the Tiger. So CCL guys, 1.1 million shares traded, up down 5.3 as well. Again, this one I think will be also be good today. But I like what NCLH did yesterday, so I'm going to keep an eye on this one. We'll put CCL here also in case anybody wants to watch this one. We could do some levels for
There's
you.
news of in CLH doing a secondary to try to raise capital to help get through this thing.
On
So,
NCLH doing that?
yeah, correct.
Oh, okay. Right. So that's not great news. We'll see how that's going to affect this stock today. All right. With that said, let's just look at RCL. RCL right at the moment not doing a whole lot, but again, this is typical RCL. They tend to have a lot less volume. Big day yesterday as well. Starting to decide what it wants to do here in the pre-market. Let's take a look at airlines. I'm going to start with United this morning. See what's going on there. If we have anything good happening, again, they got some okay volume, 540 at the moment. They're down 3.2. Not seeing anything great pre-market though. Yesterday looked a lot better. Let's look at a save. I'm not seeing anything great there neither. Let's take a look at Dell. It's another good one, and then we'll look at American Airlines. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of what I'm seeing here on the airlines. American Airlines does look like a little more active here with 2.1 million shares traded. I just don't like the way this stock trades at all. I think their price action is a little more difficult to read. They also had a nice big breakout day yesterday, like United did. But again, it's just something about the stock that's not great for me. We'll put it on here because I think it is active this morning, and we'll look at some levels for it. All right, let's get back to our list here. So now that we covered those travel stocks, what else do we have here that looks good? SRNE. This one is down 8.1, 816 pre-market right now, starting to get going. This stock trades a little bit weird, Norm. I'm not sure if you had any experience watching this one closely or trading it. But again, it's not one of my favorite ones to watch.
No, it does not trade well. These biotechs, I've mentioned it before, it's a very unique way that they trade. SRNE is no different. It's not a low float, but it trades a bit like one. So I steer clear of these for the most part.
Yeah. It's my same thoughts as well. I want to take a look at VXRT. I know this one was hot yesterday. A lot of people watching this one and taking a couple of plays on there. Right now they're down 4.1, 532. So worth watching. Going red to green this morning already. So we have some pretty good activity here on VXRT. Be mindful that this stock does move quite a bit. You need to be very careful when trading it. It is not a low flow, sitting at 73 million shares flow, but again, it does move like one, so you got to be very careful. We have Twitter on deck already, and with that, I'm going to go over to you, Norm, and then toward the room, see what else we have going on here.
Um, I'm not seeing a whole lot that I'm in love with this morning. I was actually a little bit surprised. So MS Morgan Stanley had earnings this morning. Um, they had good earnings. They're up not a ton, but they've got a massive amount of volume. So I might keep my eye out on that. J&J had earnings. They've been in play on days when there's been, the talcum powder lawsuit stuff. They've been hit with a few things along those lines. It's not really doing much either. It might be a secondary item just in case it pops up. And then the last one is BAC. I don't like trading BAC that much. I don't know if you went over it. It doesn't move a lot, but they did have earnings, which their earnings weren't bad, but they were talking about the holding an additional, I think it was $4 billion for potential loan losses related to COVID. So that's spiked them down 3% this morning on 1.4 million shares.
Yeah, and I think the few times I have traded BAC has been on news. It never on its own just because it's gapping up or down. So today could be the day we watch this one. It does have 1.4 million shares traded right now, so it's got a good pre-market action. We'll throw it on here. All right, let's see what the room has, guys. Let's start over with David. We do have NCLH. Good. Yep. We'll look out for that secondary offering, see how that's going to affect things today. We have JBUL. Let's take a look. That's JetBlue, I believe. JBUL. This one, yeah, nice breakout here in JBUL.
JBLU.
Sorry, JBLU. So JetBlue has a pretty nice breakout here this morning. I technically usually do not watch JetBlue. I think their price action is a little bit weird, but I think it's worth putting on here, guys. I do see a nice breakout there. Not sure if the other airlines are doing that as well. Let's take a look
It's interesting. It's interesting to see these other airlines getting hit and JetBlue being up. So
it
that
really
makes it
is,
potentially
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. So is there any specific news on JetBlue? I mean, this is not typical of
Yeah,
them to be doing
they
that.
signed some kind of a strategic partnership, I believe, with American to try to help them get through the pandemic issues. But I have not read the details of it, so I don't really know what's going on there.
All right, so I see here the room is mentioning possible partnership with American Airlines. That's big. That's big. We'll see how that reacts. We do have American Airlines on here. They're also starting to get going, so we'll see.
I
All
don't
right.
think it's a potential. I think it's a done deal.
Oh, it is a done deal. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha, gotcha. All right, so we'll keep an eye on these two and see what kind of action we're going to get out of that today. Um, all right, let's look at BAC. We do have that one on the deck. Let's take INO. INO this morning. This is starting to get pretty active. I like the way the daily looks now because we're sitting right at this area of support. If we can lose that, we have some momentum to get going here. Yeah, I do like this one today. Let's throw it on here. We are down 4.9, 283,000 shares traded right now. And yeah, we got some good action on that. Let's take a look at what else we have here. ACIU. What is this? 56%, 3.8 million shares traded. Let's take the float on this one. See what we got here in trade ideas. ACIU. Coming up with 38, so it's not a low flow stock. It is a lower price stock, and it's moving like a low flow this morning. Again, these type of stocks, guys, I'm not personally going to watch. I don't like the way the pre-market is setting up here.
This is a Swiss biotech once again.
Yeah, it's these biotech companies, and there's nothing wrong with. And actually, look, it used to trade a lot better.
Some people specialize on these, man,
Yeah, I
and
agree.
all the credit in the world to them, but they are tough to trade, and they're different, really, than trading a lot of the other stuff that we do trade.
Yeah, it's a whole different animal, and again, the one of the greatest things that you can do for your trading is find your niche. You know, if you find your niche and what you're good at, you're golden. You know, and if this is what you're good at, by all means, man, go after it. But I'm not gonna put this one on my list. See what else we have here. Let's take a look at VMW. So VMW here. I'm not liking the pre-market right now. Very light on volume. And the daily, I don't see anything great on the daily neither. Besides this bounce
And the
here, you
play
have
on
nice.
that Dell.
I'm sorry.
That's the company that Dell owns 81% of, that it's spinning off,
Okay.
or getting rid of. If you're going to play that, I would think Dell is the play on this one, not BMW. But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Dell has a lot better chart, pre-market, post-market, everything else.
Yeah. That was definitely where the action is right now. Um, all right. So let's see what we have. E-bond we looked at. I did not like the way that was setting up. Let's take a quick look at it again. Again, this is more of a low flow stock. I'm sorry, not a low flow stock.
This is
It
trash.
it trades like a low flow stock. It's a recent
This
IPO
is a
too.
Chinese Bitcoin mining hardware company.
Yeah, you don't want to touch this. And then it also just opened up. I mean, let's stay away from that. All right, guys, let's look at what we have here in our YouTube chat. Let's start with Ricardo here, AZN. See what we got going on. AZN here right now, 882,000 shares traded. Pre-market's looking decent. I looked at this one before. I don't like trading it. I don't like the price action on it,
Foreign.
guys. It's foreign. It doesn't look good. Look at the daily here overall. It's just really all over the place. I know I had a big day yesterday. Pre-market looks good right now, but for the most part, it's one that I tend to stay away from these foreign stocks. Let's look at DPZ. This is Domino's, I believe. Okay, so Domino's right now, it is not pretty much flat for the most part. No volume. Pre-market is really light. So I saw that it had a
Spread's a
nice little
dollar.
pop. Say again?
Spread is a dollar.
Yeah,
I've watched Domino's. To me, it's very, very difficult
yeah.
stock to trade.
I
It's a
don't think
dollar
I,
fifty right now spread.
Yeah, I don't think I ever traded Domino's again. And just look at the volume, guys. On any given day, this thing moves a lot, by the way. It moves from 361 to 376. You have some pretty big moves, but you have those moves happening with no volume, and that's scary. I mean, you're barely getting a million shares traded on a stock that's 385 average. I mean, for the last couple of months, that's scary stuff. You watch this one, put it on the side, and watch the price action, and you're gonna see. You're not gonna like what you see on this thing, especially if you're used to trading stuff like AMD, Nvidia, MU. Things actually move well. This is not one to be playing around with. You can sit here and it can take forever for these moves to happen. And the spread, even though you have a good entry, the spread could keep you negative, so just be careful on that. All right, let's see what else do we have. We go back up here. Where's DPC? I lost my spot. DVAX. Let's take a look at that. DVAX. This one, guys, nice breakout on the daily. Right now, pre-market's really all over the place. You have only one big pop here, 161,000 shares traded. Aside from that, this is not a great pre-market action, so I'm going to stay away from this one. On the daily, though, you have a beautiful breakout here around 950, so that's good. I like what I'm seeing here, possible continuation, but for the most part, this pre-market action right now is not looking great. Let's look at Box L. This one being brought up as well. Had a couple of big days on Box L. What is the float on this? Let's take a quick look on Box L this morning, 23, so just shy of being, under that 20 mark. So you want to treat this like a low flow. Also, guys, look at the price action. For the most part, hanging around under $1. So I would consider a type of stock like this a penny stock. Yes, I know it's not really trading under $1 right now, but it has been for the most part. Just having this breakout here, it's going to have that penny stocks tendency, so be careful with it. Again, 10 million shares traded right now. It is up 42%, but it doesn't really fall into our criteria of what we like to watch for the most part. So just be careful if you're going to watch this one today. Be aware of how you trade this. TCDA this morning. TCDA, let's take a look. All right, so TCDA, not a whole lot of volume, guys, only 45,000 shares. It is down huge, 32%. But again, really light on the volume, doesn't trade well for the most part. Even though it's gapping down so much like this, I would love to keep a stock like this on watch. But again, with this type of action we're seeing here, you might not get a whole lot of great trading out of it. Let's take a look at Netflix and then MC. Netflix, what we got going on today? Netflix. All right, here we go. So Netflix, for the most part right now, 76,000 shares traded. Not a whole lot of volume. I think it might just be choppy this morning unless we get some kind of breakout. We created a new breakout here yesterday and the day before. I'm sorry, a couple of days ago here, which is nice. So again, you're consolidating here, which is great. I think it's a possible play here, but we need some action to get above this 530 to get going up there. So right now, I'm not seeing the volume to do that, or a great pre-market action on that neither. So let's look at MC. MC is just a block trade, nothing going on there. We'll skip on this one. In Bank of America, we do have, and then last one here from Daryl. Let's look at BABA. BABA right now, 290. Pre-market is really all over the place, but this is typical for BABA. BABA tends to do this. I do like the daily though. We're sitting right at a great area of support and resistance, right? We had a couple of days here showing resistance, one day here showing great support, and we're just right on it. So this could be interesting. I'm gonna add this as possible. I think this could be a good one today, depending how things go. Possible breakout either way, support or a breakdown here. Both can work out pretty nice this morning. All right, guys, let's take a look at our announcements. We'll come back and do some support and resistance on the stocks we have here.
All right, guys. So last night was Jared's trend trading webinar, spotting trend days, identifying them, and maximizing trades on them. So it was phenomenal. I did not get to watch the whole thing last night, but what I did catch was great. And it should be up for us to see it. Those of us that missed all of it or some of it should be up in the Education Center today. Next week, we have Mike doing his webinar on developing your edge, your playbook through journaling. Journaling is an extremely important process, especially for those just starting out. Find what you're good at, what you're bad at. Do more of the good, do less of the bad. Try to tweak, figure out your strategies and everything else. So check that out with Mike next week, 8 p.m. in the webinar room, Wednesday night. Speaking of Mike, he did his Module 1, Defining Yourself as a Trader, on Tuesday. That should already be posted and available in the Psychology Center. There is not a psychology webinar next week, but there will be the week after. Guys, a member trade of the day that we spoke about earlier. So it's a new contest we're doing Monday through Thursday. You can post your best trade of the day by 1:30 p.m. on Twitter. Tag at Bearable Traders, at Mike B BBT, and at Norm BBT. Also use the hashtag BBT family. That way we can see it. We can search for it easily. Mike and I are picking the best one each day. The winner will be announced in the Closing Bell show. It'll be tweeted out as well if you're not around to watch the Closing Bell show. And each Friday, we are going to select one winner from the 4 from Monday through Thursday. That person will win a $100 gift card from Amazon. That'll be announced, I believe, via tweet, and Mike's going to do a brief video on that. So be sure to follow. I know it's you're tagging 3 people and putting a hashtag in there, but that's what we got to do to be able to see it easily. All right, guys. If you're watching us on YouTube, haven't been in the chat, you can do so for a discount. Use the promo code PREMARKET24. That'll take the rate for the week for 7 calendar days from $39 to $24. Gives you access to the onboarding class each Monday night that Carlos does at 8 p.m. Live. And you can come try the chat out for 5 trading days and see how you like it, see if it's a good fit. We're announcing our newest promo. Guys, this is the last time we're going to offer lifetime memberships at 40% off. So the code is Rockies40. As everybody knows, Andrew loves to climb mountains. He has been able to get back and do a little bit of that. He's climbing in the Canadian Rockies to celebrate that. The code is Rockies40. Like I said, once again, this is the last time we're going to have a discount this big on lifetime memberships. So Rockies40 is the code on that. If you like podcasts, search your favorite podcast platform for the terms Talk with Traders. That will pull up the Bear Bull Traders podcast. Peter just released one, I believe, day before yesterday with Dr. Katz, but there's really good content going out that way via Peter. So thank you, sir. And speaking of him, join him, Mike and Brian, each day, 3:30 to 4:15, the simulcast of the room to YouTube, our closing bell show. They'll talk about trade reviews, market analysis, swing trades, and earnings trades. Take care, guys. There you go.
All right, thank you, Norm. All right, guys, let's get to our list here. Let's start with Twitter. So I like Twitter this morning, very active. Obviously, they got some news behind it, and they were down a little bit more and kind of coming back now, getting a little bit of a bounce here. So let's keep an eye on this one. As far as levels, we do have our highs and lows kind of covering us a bit here towards the top. And the bottom just slightly. The low of the pre-market is a little bit lower at 33.13, so we're going to mark that down. And then towards the top, you have your levels covered here, so you're good there. If we break down from this 33.13, we do have a drop all the way down here at a 31.85 could be interesting. Several levels on there, moving averages as well, so we'll keep an eye on that one. Here is Dell, guys. Dell is active. I want to keep this on watch. Also up very nice this morning, up 10% right now. Big action yesterday, as you can see here. High of the pre-market 59.77, the low of the pre-market 56.38, and we're just kind of bouncing around this action in here this morning so far. So we'll see which way Dell wants to go. Right now, it's really sitting right in the midpoint of these 2 highs and lows levels we have. Towards the bottom, the next area of support that I could possibly see is the last area of resistance, or the closest area of resistance, 55.72. And for the most part, guys, Dell does not trade very well, does not have great volume for the most part. You can see how light the volume is on any given day. Today they have news, and they're already trading some very significant volume pre-market. So we'll see what Dell does here, guys. Again, they're all-time high there or not. Let's go back and see if we find any levels towards the top here. In case we get above this 59.77, we have some action we can play out here. So zooming in, we're going back to 2018, so a little bit in the past year at a 62.09 is a good one. Look at this 59.79, also some areas very close to it, not quite, but very close to 59.77, which is your high of your pre-market. You can see how well that played a couple of years back, right? A year back or so, right? 2019. You can see how beautiful that is. April, March time frame. Also up here, the 62 is great. You also have another level right up here. Also great support resistance at 63.67. So we'll see if this thing has the juice to get going. Towards the bottom, you have plenty of supports right here, highs and lows, and the previous day close as well. Here's Neo. Neo very active this morning. Nice drop early on to 11.42. Has then bounced quite a bit. We're only down now 8.4 with 10 million shares traded. Again, it sounds like a big number, but for a stock that's trading on any given day, you know, for the last couple of weeks, you know, 150 million shares a day, you know, that's a drop in the bucket. That's nothing. So I mean, just don't play into that number too hard there. Above that, guys, we do have a high of the pre-market, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. This 1440, I'm going to move up a little more. It should be right there. 1458 is better. And then if you keep get going here, 1522 and also 1643 as well. So that's what we have on Neo. I don't think this thing wants to drop down, but if it does, we do have a level here at 1076 just in case. NCLH, guys, had a great day yesterday. Their trading action was beautiful. This morning they also got a great, good-looking pre-market action, holding on to the 1679. They really like that level here right now. We have had several bounces off of that, which is great. High of the pre-market sitting at 1797. In between there, we do have a minor area of support and resistance. Again, not a major level like this one up here. This is a great one. Previous day close, you can see the rejection, the support happening there. This was a minor one because you only have a couple of days here. This one here, bouncing off of that. These two opening and closing around this area. So 1734, you want to have it marked down. And then below the low of yesterday, you can see several highs and lows there, pretty much getting you covered. So let's see what NCLH wants to do here. Again, very strong support there at 1679, 77, really holding on to that level. Here is CCL, guys. Right now, CCL has got a great pre-market action. Not as clean as we have seen before in the past. It started off very nice here. It's just been getting a little choppy over the last couple of minutes. Hasn't done anything all that great. But as far as levels, we do have our high of our pre-market at 1689. Above that, again, we also had a big day yesterday on it. 1750 is the highs of the last trading day. Above that, if we can break out of that, by the way, this is also a great level of support and resistance. This previous day close, look how many days are touching that, opening, closing above that, bouncing above, bouncing off that level. Again, you want to have that on there. So slightly above that, the next best level I see is going to be this 1873, several days opening, closing, and bouncing off that level there. Towards the bottom, I don't think you need to add anymore. You got a lot of congestion down here. Highs and lows from the last two trading days got you covered there. American Airlines started to be very active. 2.4 million shares traded right now. We're also going to look at Jetblue next because they're obviously also very active this morning. 1319 high of the pre-market. Above that, you do have the highs from yesterday. Again, a lot of these travel companies having the same situation where they had a nice pop and they're stopping at the last place where they had a big resistance, right? Which is right on here, the previous day close. So if we can get out of that and break out of this congested area of all these levels and support, moving averages, the next clean level we have here is 1431. And if American Airlines can get going here, that should not be an issue to hit that level or have that target. Towards the bottom, highs and lows of the last two trading days, you can mark down the low of the pre-market here, 1247. So let's mark that on there as well. Just keep an eye out for that. I'm going to jump over to Jetblue because obviously Jetblue is also going red to green here this morning. They don't have as much volume, only 563, but maybe we keep this down as a possible. High of the pre-market 1174 towards the bottom. Low of the pre-market 1109. If we can get going, a beautiful area of support and resistance at 1223. Look how great this level is trading, guys. I know the day looks a little bit rough here, but you can see how beautiful this is, right? You can see the highs and lows and also some bouncing days closing and opening at around that level 1223. And then similar to everything else, is we've been consolidating on these stocks, right? A lot of them have dropped, and just for the last couple of days it's been consolidating, and then yesterday we got the breakout. You have your highs and lows listed right on there with some moving averages as well. Here's INO again putting in 309 right now, down 3.6. What I like about INO right now is really we're sitting at with this support. So let's go look into this slightly. This is the better area of support right there at 2268. We can mark down the low of the pre-market at 2331, but this area here, great support right now. You're getting a slight bounce slightly above that, so we can see which way this thing wants to go here. But for the most part, that is what I like the most about it. The pre-market is okay, so I'm going to move this down to a possible. Let's bring it down here, INO, and remove from my main list as well. Let's go back up and look at VXRT. This one has been very active, guys. You got to be careful with this one. It is a great scalping stock. I mean, you get in and out quickly, you get a nice little move, but do not overstay your welcome on this one, guys, because it will bounce right back very fast, very aggressive. So it does move like a low flow stock. What is the float on this, by the way? Just to check, VXRT, let's bring it in here. VXRT. Yep, 73 million shares flow, but it is a biotech company, and again, these things they can move pretty fast on you. So low of the pre-market 1372. Towards the top, you got your previous day close, your high of your pre-market very close to the high of yesterday. So I'm not going to mark that down. This will be the level you want to keep an eye on as well. And if we lose some of these levels we have here, highs and lows from the last two trading days, the next reasonable level I see is 1212, obviously closing there, and then towards the bottom you do have a nice level here at $9. But be on the lookout. Obviously that's a big drop. I don't think we'll get there today. Be on the lookout for the whole dollar numbers as well. So VXRT getting a little bit of a bounce here. Looks like it wants to go green. We'll see how that plays out a little bit later. So that covers our watch list, guys. Let's just do a quick recap here. We have Twitter. Want to bring this down to at least 6. So here's Twitter. I like that one. Dell, I think, is a good one for today. We might need to wait till it settle down to kind of see what direction it wants to go. Neo is very active, good pre-market action, having a hard time getting above the low from yesterday. So he's banging his head right on against this 1243, looks like. So tough time there. Trying one more time, looks like, see if you can get above that. NCLH breaking the 1679, so nice. I like what I'm seeing here, guys. This should create some more volume here because again, this thing was holding for quite a bit. Cannot hold any longer. We got a crack through that one. At CCL, you know what? I think CCL is a little bit choppier than NCLH today, so I'm going to move CCL down just to fine tune my list a little bit here, guys. I want to watch 6 to 5. Not more than that. American Airlines, I think, is pretty decent. I'm going to take JetBlue down to a possible as well. I think American Airlines will be the one to watch today. They're going to have the more volume. They're going to probably move a little bit better. If you have room, keep JetBlue, but JBUL is going to move down for me. And VXRT, I like also. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. That is what we have today. All right, let's take a look at what our moderators are giving us this morning. Let's start over here with Thor. So Thor, his top 3 today is Dell, J&J, NCLH, American Airlines, Twitter, and Netflix. Peter this morning has Twitter, JBUL, NCLH. His secondary list looks like Dell, American Airlines, J&J, MS, BAC, and Neo. Where's the? I thought I had J&J as unimpossible here. Let's bring this back. Hold on. All right, let's throw J&J back here on Impossible today. Tiffany's watching Twitter, NCLH, and American Airlines. John on his list has Roku, FB, Facebook, and Beyond the Meat is on there, BYND, for the high of day breakouts. And Norm, your list, mRNA, Dell, Twitter, Delta Airlines, Neo, J&J, MS, and JetBlue as well. And Jared's watching J&J,
I just added
Twitter.
Roku as well.
Oh, Roku. Oh, Roku. Yes. Roku, I'm telling you.
I like the daily.
Yesterday?
Pre-market's terrible.
Yeah.
Pre-market's terrible, but I like the daily.
You can't judge Roku by the pre-market anymore. We learned our lesson there. It doesn't mean much as the daily. The dailies. Roku is one of those stocks where the daily is more important than the actual pre-market. Sad to say. On some days, not every day, but on some days it is. So we got a couple of levels here we can try to get to. But yeah, the day looks good. Pretty nice consolidation here. Pretty easily can rip through this if it gets going. So Roku's on deck for Norm as well. And Jared has a J&J, Twitter, and IWM. This is the index play, by the way, guys. So let's take a look at what's going on there. I would love to see a breakout here. This looks nice. So let's see what we can get there. All right, guys, that is what we have. That is our moderators list. Oh, one more. We have Brian coming in, NCLH, VXRT, SQ. Let's look at our buddy SQ, or Brian's buddy SQ. Again, very strong stock. A couple of pullbacks here given the last actions over the last couple of days, but for the most part, this stock has been so strong. I would love to see this break out here and try to for those highs again. So he has SQ, Neo, and Baba as well. Eamon has Dell. LGHL, be careful with that one, guys. That's a low flow stock showing 19 million shares flow, which is insane. Neo, and then secondary WKHS. You know what? I want to look at WKHS because that one has been pretty good to us over the last couple of days. This one here, I like the daily possible breakout right now. Pre-market is not showing all that much, but again, when this thing gets going, it does have some beautiful plays in it. All right, folks, that is what we have. Thank you so much for joining the pre-market show. We will see you guys again tomorrow morning at 8:30 Eastern time. Take care, guys, and trade safe.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.